Hello, future AWS Cloud Practitioners. If you are preparing for the exam and feeling overwhelmed by the sheer number of AWS services, this video is your lifeline. In just 35 minutes, we'll break down every critical AWS services you must know with clear, exam-focused explanations and real-world use cases. Why this is so important? Because the exam tests your ability to match services to business need. If you miss this, you will waste time guessing the answers. By end of this video, you will confidently identify core AWS services and their purposes. You will be able to answer scenario-based questions faster. It will also avoid confusions with similar services like EFS versus EBS. And last but not least, you will be more confident for the certification exam. On behalf of the CloudExpert Solutions team, I would like to thank you for joining us and exploring this video. If you have already subscribed to our channel, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. It truly means a lot to our team. If you haven't subscribed yet, we kindly invite you to do so and gain access to premium cloud courses and certification bootcamps all for free. Before we dive in, let's open the official AWS exam guide. This is your blueprint for exactly what to study for the certification. Let's scroll down to Appendix A. Here you go, Appendix A is in page number 14, and let's zoom in scope AWS services and features. Right here, AWS lists every AWS services you must know for this certification. In this exam guide, AWS grouped the services based on their domain. We'll start with analytics, then we have application integration, followed by business applications, then cloud financial management, compute, containers, customer enablement, databases, developer tools, end user computing, front-end web and mobile, Internet of Things, followed by machine learning, then management and governance, migration and transfer, networking and content delivery, and last but not least, security, identity and compliance. Please hang tight. We are about to give you a quick rundown of the AWS services listed here. There's a lot to cover, so let's jump in. We'll start with analytics services, and the first service name is Amazon Athena. Amazon Athena query data in S3 using standard SQL without setting up any servers. Amazon Athena is best for any ad hoc querying of data that is stored in your S3 bucket. Moving to our next service, Amazon EMR. Amazon EMR or Elastic MapReduce runs big data frameworks like Apache Spark and Hadoop on managed cluster. Amazon EMR is ideal for large-scale data processing and transformation. Next is AWS Glue. AWS Glue is a serverless data integration service for ETL, that is extract, transform and load. And AWS Glue is used to prepare and move data for analytics. Next we have Amazon Kinesis. Amazon Kinesis is a real-time data streaming service for collecting and processing streaming data. Amazon Kinesis is great for real-time analytics, dashboards and alerts. Moving on to our next service, which is Amazon OpenSearch service. Amazon OpenSearch service can be used for search, analyze and visualize log and text data in near real time. Amazon OpenSearch is best for log analytics, full text search and observability. Then Amazon QuickSight. Amazon QuickSight is a business intelligence or BI tool to create dashboards and visualizations. Amazon QuickSight can be used for interactive data visualizations and sharing insights. Last but not least in this domain, Amazon Redshift. Amazon Redshift is a fully managed data warehouse for fast SQL-based analytics on large dataset. Amazon Redshift is best for complex queries and reporting across petabytes of data. Moving to our next service domain, which is application integrations, and we'll start with Amazon Event Bridge. Amazon Event Bridge is a serverless event bus that connects applications using events from AWS services, SaaS applications, or custom sources. Amazon Event Bridge is best for building event-driven architecture and automating workflows. Moving on to our next service, Amazon Simple Notification Service or SNS. Amazon SNS is a fully managed pub/sub messaging service for sending notifications to multiple subscribers. Amazon SNS can be used for fan-out messaging alerts and mobile push, email or SNS notifications. Moving to next service, Amazon Simple Queue Service or SQS. Amazon SQS is a fully managed message queuing service for decoupling and scaling microservices. Amazon SQS can be used to buffer and process messages between distributed systems. Moving to our next service domain, which is business applications, and we'll start with Amazon Connect. Amazon Connect is a cloud-based contact center service to set up customer support with very easy and no infrastructure to be managed. Amazon Connect can be used for scalable, pay-as-you-go call centers with AI-powered feature. Moving to our next in the list, Amazon Simple Email Service or ACS. Amazon ACS is scalable email sending service for transactional, marketing or bulk emails. Amazon ACS is best for sending emails from applications or websites. Let's move to our next service domain, which is Cloud Financial Management, and we'll start with AWS Budget. AWS Budget sets custom cost and usage budgets and receive alerts when thresholds are exceeded. AWS Budget can be used to control spending and stay within budget. Moving to our next service, AWS Cost and Usage Report or CAR. AWS Cost and Usage Report provides the most detailed billing data including hourly usage and resource level cost. AWS Cost and Usage Report can be used for deep financial analysis and integration with BI tools. The next in this list, AWS Cost Explorer. AWS Cost Explorer can be used for visualize, understand, and forecast AWS spending over time. That is best for analyzing trends and identifying cost-saving opportunities. Let's move to our next domain, which is customer enablement. An only listed service is AWS Support. AWS Support provides technical support plans and guidance to help customers use AWS effectively. AWS Support can be used for troubleshooting, best practices, and 24/7 technical assistance based on the support tier. Let's move on to our next domain, which is compute, and we'll start with AWS Batch. AWS Batch runs batch computing job at any scale without managing servers. AWS Batch can be used for processing large volume of jobs like simulations or data analysis. Our next service is Amazon EC2 or Elastic Compute Cloud. Amazon EC2 is scalable virtual servers in the cloud with full control over the guest operating system and the configuration. Amazon EC2 can be used for hosting applications, websites, or custom workload. The next is AWS Elastic Beanstalk. AWS Elastic Beanstalk is platform as a service or PaaS offering to deploy and manage applications without managing infrastructure. Elastic Beanstalk can be used for quick app deployment with automatic scaling and monitoring. Our next in the list is Amazon Lightsail. Amazon Lightsail simplifies cloud hosting with pre-configured instances for websites and small applications. Amazon Lightsail can be used by beginners or small business for easy VPS hosting. Then we have AWS Outpost. AWS Outpost run AWS services on-premise with hardware managed by AWS. AWS Outpost can be used for hybrid cloud scenarios with low latency or data residency needs. Let's move to the next domain, containers. And we'll start with Amazon Elastic Container Registry or ECR. Amazon ECR is a fully managed container image registry to store, manage, and deploy Docker images. Amazon ECR can be used to store and version container images securely. Then we have Amazon Elastic Container Service or ECS. Amazon ECS is highly scalable container orchestration service for running Docker containers. Amazon ECS can be used to run containers on AWS with tight integration to AWS services. The next is Amazon Elastic Kubernetes Services or EKS. Amazon EKS is a managed Kubernetes service to run Kubernetes applications on AWS. Amazon EKS can be used when you need Kubernetes compatibilities with AWS managed infrastructure. Moving on to our next service domain, serverless compute, and we'll start with AWS Fargate. AWS Fargate is a serverless compute engine for containers that run ECS or EKS tasks without managing servers. AWS Fargate can be used to run containers without provisioning or managing EC2 instances. Our next in the list, AWS Lambda. AWS Lambda can run code in response to events without provisioning or managing servers. AWS Lambda can be used for short-lived event-driven functions like automations, APIs, or backend logic. Let's move to our next service domain, which is database. We'll start with Amazon Aurora. Amazon Aurora is high-performance MySQL and PostgreSQL compatible relational database service. Amazon Aurora can be used for enterprise-grade relational workload with high availability and speed. Next is Amazon DocumentDB. Amazon DocumentDB is a managed document database service which is compatible with MongoDB. Amazon DocumentDB can be used for JSON-like document storage and retrieval. Next is Amazon DynamoDB. Amazon DynamoDB is a fully managed NoSQL key value and document database with single-digit millisecond latency. Amazon DynamoDB can be used for high-performance serverless applications at scale. Next is Amazon Elasticache. Amazon Elasticache is an in-memory caching service which supports Redis or Memcached. Amazon Elasticache can be used to speed up applications by caching frequently accessed data. Next is Amazon Neptune. Amazon Neptune is a fully managed graph database service for highly connected data. Amazon Neptune can be used for social networks, recommendation engine, and fraud detection. Next is Amazon RDS or Amazon Relational Database Service, which is a managed relational database service and supports multiple engines like MySQL, PostgreSQL, Oracle, MariaDB, and Microsoft SQL Server. Amazon RDS can be used for traditional relational database workloads with automated backups and patching. Let's move to our next domain, which is developer tools, and we'll start with AWS CLI. AWS CLI is a tool to manage AWS services from the command line or scripts. AWS CLI can be used for automating tasks and managing AWS resources via terminal. Next is AWS Code Build. AWS Code Build is a fully managed build service, and as the name suggests, Code Build complies source code, run tests, and produce artifacts. AWS Code Build can be used to automate the build process of the CI/CD pipeline. Next is AWS Code Pipeline. AWS Code Pipeline automates the software release process using CI/CD pipeline, and AWS Code Pipeline can be used to orchestrate the full release workflow from code to deployment. Next is AWS X-Ray. AWS X-Ray helps developers analyze and debug distributed applications in production. AWS X-Ray can be used for tracing requests and identifying performance bottlenecks. Next we have Frontend, Web and Mobiles, and we'll start with AWS Amplify. AWS Amplify is a set of tools and services to build, deploy and host full-stack web and mobile applications quickly. AWS Amplify can be used for front-end development with back-end integration, hosting, and authentication. Next is AWS AppSync. AWS AppSync is a managed service for building GraphQL APIs that connect apps to data sources in real time. AWS AppSync can be used for real-time data access and syncing across devices using GraphQL. Let's move to our next service domain, which is end-user computing, and we'll start with Amazon AppStream 2.0. Amazon AppStream 2.0 stream desktop applications securely to user via a browser without any local install. Amazon AppStream 2.0 can be used for delivering Windows app to any device without managing physical desktop. Next is Amazon Workspaces. Amazon Workspaces is a managed, secure desktop as a service for provisioning cloud-based virtual desktop. Amazon Workspace can be used to provision persistent Windows or Linux desktops for users. Next is Amazon Workspace Secure Browser. Amazon Workspace's Secure Browser is an isolated browser service to securely access web content without exposing internal workloads. Amazon Workspace's Secure Browser can be used for secure web access from unmanaged or low trusted devices. Let's move on to our next service domain, which is Internet of Things or IoT. And the service is AWS IoT Core. AWS IoT Core can securely connect, manage, and process data from billions of IoT devices in real time. Amazon IoT Core can be used for building IoT applications that collect and analyze data from connected devices. Moving to our next domain, which is machine learning, and we'll start with Amazon Comprehend. Amazon Comprehend is a natural language processing or NLP service to extract insights like sentiments, entities, and key phrases from text. Amazon Comprehend can be used for analyzing customer feedback, documents, or social media. The next in the list is Amazon Kendra. Amazon Kendra is an intelligent search service powered by machine learning to deliver accurate answers from unstructured data. Amazon Kendra can be used for enterprise search across documents, wikis, and FAQs. Next is Amazon Lex. Amazon Lex is to build conversational interface using voice and text. Amazon Lex is powered by the same technology what powers Alexa. Amazon Lex can be used for chatbots and virtual assistants. Then we have Amazon Polly. Amazon Polly can turn text into lifelike speech using deep learning, and Amazon Polly can be used for voice-enabled apps, accessibilities, and content narration. Next, Amazon Q. Amazon Q is an AI-powered assistant for business and developer productivity, and it can be integrated with AWS services. Amazon Q can be used to answer questions, generate code, and assist with AWS tasks. Next, we have Amazon Recognition. Amazon Recognition is for image and video analysis service for facial recognition, object detection, and content moderation. Amazon Recognition can be used for security, media analysis, and automation. Then we have Amazon SageMaker. Amazon SageMaker is a fully managed service to build, train, and deploy machine learning models at scale. Amazon SageMaker can be used by data scientists and developers for end-to-end machine learning workflows. Let's move on to next slide and let's review Amazon TextRact. Amazon TextRact can automatically extract text, forms, and tables from scanned documents. Amazon TextRact can be used for digitizing paper-based workflows. Next, we have Amazon Transcribe. Amazon Transcribe is an automatic speech recognition or ASR service to convert speech to text. Amazon Transcribe can be used for transcription of calls, meetings, and media content. Last in this list, Amazon Translate. Amazon Translate is a neural machine translation service for real-time language translation. Amazon Translate can be used for multilingual apps, websites, and content localization. Let's move to our next domain, management and governance. And we'll start with AWS Autoscaling. AWS Autoscaling automatically adjusts compute resources to maintain performance and cost efficiency. AWS Autoscaling can be used to scale EC2 instances or other resources based on demand. Then we have AWS Cloud Formation. AWS Cloud Formation is an infrastructure as code or IaaS service to define and provision AWS resources using templates. AWS Cloud Formation can be used for automating and replicating infrastructure setups across environments. Then we have AWS CloudTrail. AWS CloudTrail tracks user activities and API calls across AWS services for auditing. AWS CloudTrail can be used for compliance, security analysis, and troubleshooting. Then we have Amazon CloudWatch. Amazon CloudWatch can be used for monitoring and observability service for logs, metrics, and alarms. Amazon CloudWatch can be used to monitor AWS resources and applications in real time. Then we have AWS Compute Optimizer. AWS Compute Optimizer recommends optimal AWS resources based on usage patterns. AWS Compute Optimizer can be used to reduce cost and improve performance of compute services. Then we have AWS Config. AWS Config tracks configuration changes and compliance of AWS resources. AWS Config can be used for auditing and ensuring resource compliance. Then we have AWS Control Tower. AWS Control Tower sets up and governs in a secure multi-account AWS environments using best practices. AWS Control Tower can be used for centralized account setup and governance. Then we have AWS Health Dashboard. AWS Health Dashboard provides alerts and guidance for AWS service events that may impact you. AWS Health Dashboard can be used to monitor AWS outages or issues affecting your resources. Then we have AWS License Manager. AWS License Manager helps manage software licenses across AWS and on-premise environments. AWS License Manager can be used to track and control license uses and compliance. Then we have AWS Management Console. AWS Management Console is a web-based interface to access and manage AWS services. AWS Management Console can be used for manual management and configuration of AWS resources. Then we have AWS Organizations. AWS Organizations centrally manage and govern multiple AWS accounts. AWS Organizations can be used for consolidated billing, policy control, and account structure. Then we have AWS Service Catalog. AWS Service Catalog create and manage approved catalogs of IT services for use within an organization. AWS Service Catalog can be used to standardize and control provisioning of resources. Then we have service quotas. AWS service quotas view and manage service limits for AWS resources. AWS service quotas can be used to monitor and request increase for resource limits. Then we have AWS Systems Manager or SSM. AWS Systems Manager provides unified interface to manage AWS resources and automate operational tasks. SSM can be used for patching, inventory, automation, and remote management. Then we have AWS Trusted Advisor. AWS Trusted Advisor provides real-time recommendations to improve security, performance, fault tolerance, and cost efficiency. AWS Trusted Advisor can be used to optimize your AWS environment based on the AWS best practices. Let's move to our next group of services, which is migration and transfer. We'll start with AWS Application Discovery Services. Application Discovery Service collects on-premise servers and uses data to plan cloud migrations. AWS Application Discovery Service can be used for assessing on-premise workloads before migrating to AWS Cloud. Then we have AWS Application Migration Service or MGN. AWS Application Migration Service is a lift and shift service to rehost physical, virtual, or cloud servers to AWS. Application Migration Service can be used for seamless server migration with minimal downtime. Application Migration Service can be used for seamless server migration with minimal downtime. Then we have AWS Database Migration Service or DMS. AWS Database Migration Service can migrate databases to AWS with minimal downtime. AWS DMS can be used for homogeneous or heterogeneous database migration. Then we have Migration Evaluator. Migration Evaluator provides cost estimates and business case analysis for migrating to AWS. Migration Evaluator can be used to justify cloud migrations with data-driven insights. Then we have AWS Migration Hub. Migration Hub is a central dashboard to track and manage application migrations across tools. AWS Migration Hub can be used to monitor migration progress in one place. Then we have AWS Schema Conversion Tool or SCT. AWS Schema Conversion Tool converts database schema from one database engine to another. As an example, if you want to migrate Oracle to Aurora PostgreSQL, you can use AWS SCT to convert the database schema. AWS SCT can be used for heterogeneous database migrations. Next is AWS Snow Family. AWS Snow Family is a physical device to transfer large volume of data to AWS when network transfer is not practical or when there is no network connectivity. AWS Snow Family can be used for offline data migration and edge computing. Next, we will move to networking and content delivery, and we will start with Amazon API Gateway. Amazon API Gateway can create, publish, and manage secure APIs at scale. Amazon API Gateway can be used to expose backend services via RESTful or WebSocket APIs. Next, we have Amazon CloudFront. Amazon CloudFront is a content delivery network that delivers data with low latency via edge locations. Amazon CloudFront can be used to speed up delivery of websites, videos, and APIs globally. Then we have AWS Direct Connect. AWS Direct Connect is a dedicated network connection from your on-premise data center to AWS. AWS Direct Connect can be used for high throughput, low latency, and private connectivity. Then we have AWS Global Accelerator. AWS Global Accelerator improves global application availability and performance using AWS Global Network. AWS Global Accelerator can be used to route traffic to optimal AWS endpoint. Then we have AWS Private Link. AWS Private Link securely access services over the AWS network without using public IPs. AWS Private Link can be used to keep traffic private between your VPCs and the services. Then we have Amazon Route 53. Amazon Route 53 is a scalable DNS and domain registration service. Amazon Route 53 can be used for routing users to applications and managing domain names. Then AWS Transit Gateway. AWS Transit Gateway connects multiple VPCs and on-premises network through a hub-spoke network. AWS Transit Gateway can be used for simplifying large-scale network architecture. Then we have Amazon VPC or Virtual Private Cloud. Amazon VPC is an isolated network environment to launch AWS resources securely. Amazon VPC can be used to define your IP range, subnets, and routing. Then AWS VPN. AWS VPN securely connects on-premise network to AWS over the internet. AWS VPN can be used for encrypted site-to-site or client-to-site connections. AWS VPN has two varieties. One is AWS site-to-site VPN. AWS site-to-site VPN connects your on-premise network to AWS VPCs over an IPsec VPC tunnel. AWS site-to-site VPN can be used for secure, encrypted communication between networks. Then we have AWS Client VPN. AWS Client VPN securely connect individual users to AWS or on-premise networks. AWS Client VPN can be used for remote workforce access to AWS resources. Let's move on to our next domain, which is storage. And we'll start with AWS Backup. AWS Backup is a centralized backup service to automate and manage backups across AWS services. AWS Backup can be used for compliance and disaster recovery across AWS and on-premises. Then we have Amazon Elastic Block Store or EBS. EBS is a block storage for use with EC2 instances like a virtual network drive or hard drive. Amazon EBS can be used for persistent storage attached to EC2. Then we have Amazon Elastic File System or EFS. Amazon EFS is a scalable serverless file storage that can be shared across multiple EC2 instances. Amazon EFS can be used for Linux-based file storage. Then we have AWS Elastic Disaster Recovery or DRS. AWS Elastic Disaster Recovery minimizes downtime and data loss by replicating workloads for fast recovery. AWS Elastic Disaster Recovery can be used for disaster recovery of AWS Cloud and on-premise workloads. Then we have Amazon FSx. Amazon FSx is a managed file system for Windows, Lastar, NetApps, and OpenZFS. Amazon FSx can be used for specialized file storage need, that is for Windows apps or for HPC or high performance computing. Next, Amazon S3. Amazon S3 is an object storage service for storing and retrieving any amount of data. Amazon S3 can be used for backups, static websites, data lakes, and more. Then we have S3 Glacier. Amazon S3 Glacier is a low-cost archival storage for long-term data retention. Amazon S3 Glacier can be used for infrequent access data with flexible retrieval times. Then we have AWS Storage Gateway. AWS Storage Gateway is a hybrid cloud storage service that connects on-premises environment to AWS. AWS Storage Gateway can be used for backup, archiving, and disaster recovery from on-premise to AWS Cloud. Let's move to our last domain of services, which is security, identity, and compliance. We'll start with AWS Artifact. AWS Artifact provides on-demand access to AWS compliance reports and agreements. AWS Artifact can be used for downloading security and compliance documentations. Next, AWS Audit Manager. AWS Audit Manager automates evidence collection to simplify audits. You can use AWS Audit Manager to continuously access AWS uses against compliance standard. Then we have AWS Certificate Manager or ACM. AWS Certificate Manager provision, manage and deploy SSL or TLS certificates for AWS services. You can use AWS Certificate Manager to secure websites and applications with HTTPS. Then AWS Cloud HSM. AWS Cloud HSM is a dedicated hardware security model for managing encryption keys. AWS Cloud HSM can be used for compliance-driven hardware-based key storage. Then we have Amazon Cognito. Amazon Cognito provides user authentication and access control for web and mobile applications. Amazon Cognito can be used for sign up, sign in, and identity federation. Next, Amazon Detective. Amazon Detective analyzes and visualizes security data to investigate suspicious activity. Amazon Detective can be used for security investigations and root cause analysis. Then we have AWS Directory Service. AWS Directory Service connect AWS resources with existing Microsoft Active Directory or create a new one. AWS Directory Service can be used for user authentication and directory-aware workloads. Then we have AWS Firewall Manager. AWS Firewall Manager centralizes management of firewall rules across accounts and applications. AWS Firewall Manager can be used to enforce security policies at scale. Next, AWS Guard Duty. AWS Guard Duty is a threat detection service that continuously monitors for malicious activity. AWS Guard Duty can be used for intelligent threat detection and alerting. Then we have AWS IAM or Identity and Access Management. AWS IAM control access to AWS services and resources securely. AWS IAM can be used to define users, roles, and permissions. Then we have AWS IAM Identity Center, which was previously AWS SSO. AWS IAM Identity Center provides centralized access management for multiple AWS accounts and applications. You can use AWS IAM Identity Center for single sign-on and user provisioning. Then we have Amazon Inspector. Amazon Inspector automates security assessment for EC2 instances, containers, and Lambda workloads. You can use Amazon Inspector to detect vulnerabilities and deviation from best practices. Next is AWS KMS. AWS KMS or Key Management Service can create and manage cryptographic keys and data encryption. You can use KMS for secure key storage and encryption across AWS services. Then we have Amazon Messi. Amazon Messi uses machine learning to discover and protect sensitive data in Amazon S3. Amazon Messi can be used for identifying PII data and ensuring data privacy. Then we have AWS Resource Access Manager or RAM. AWS Resource Access Manager shares AWS resources across accounts securely. AWS RAM can be used for cross-account resource sharing without duplication. Then we have AWS Secrets Manager. AWS Secrets Manager securely store, rotate, and retrieve secrets like API keys and passwords. AWS Secrets Manager can be used to manage sensitive credentials securely. Then we have AWS Security Hub. AWS Security Hub provides centralized view of secure alerts and compliance status across AWS accounts. You can use AWS Security Hub to aggregate and prioritize security findings from different AWS security services. Then we have AWS Shield. AWS Shield provides managed DDoS protection for AWS applications. You can use AWS Shield to protect against network and application layer attacks. And last but not least, AWS WAF or Web Application Firewall. AWS WAF protects web application from common web exploits and bots. AWS WAF can be used to filter and monitor HTTP requests based on the rules. That wraps up this module, and we have covered all the AWS services that is in scope for the certification. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more AWS exam preparation courses and cloud certification bootcamps. Got questions or feedback? Drop them in the comments. We would love to hear from you. Thanks for learning with us at CloudExpert Solutions. You are now one step closer to crushing your exam. See you in the next video.